This is Cuckoo. I'm here with Bastl, with a V.
Yeah, that's correct.
Bastl from Bastl Instruments. And this time we're gonna talk about this amazing modular. And you told me it's called Skyscraper, but what's the real name?
Mrakodrap. Yeah, Mrakodrap.
What does it do? I can see it's a modular, but what does it do?
Yeah, like the interesting thing about this particular system, we don't sell it as a finished box, but in here we have the sensor modules and the motor modules. So these are things to interface with things out of the modular, and that's, I think, what's the point of this whole setup.
So most of the things we see here, it's not audio coming from the machines, but it's things like motorized toothbrushes. It's stuff that's being sensed and moved. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So basically, we have the inputs from the real world. We have some sensors. So for instance, I just let you hear the filter a little better. So if you hear this filter sweep, it's very slowly controlled by this lava lamp up here. There is a light sensor, and as the lava flows, it very slowly changes the cutoff of the filter. Yeah. So
Beautiful.
yeah, well, that's my favorite random voltage generator. Like to generate something that's really slow and feels great. Yeah, if you emulate it digitally or do it in analog, it doesn't feel this way. That's my definitely favorite random generator. Yeah.
So and we got water dripping from.
Yes, exactly. So let's try this. So there is a little piezo sensor which picks the water. And triggers this sort of, simple kind of sound.
So where does this cable go to?
It goes into this sensor module, and you can see this LED flashing.
Yeah.
And I have a little threshold in here, and when the signal goes above the threshold, it fires sort of a trigger or gate signal through here, which goes with this cable to this envelope. So that's the decay of the sound. It can be shorter or it can be longer.
Yeah.
And
But this could be sent anywhere, right?
Yes, exactly.
It could be sent to a motor stuff.
Yes,
yeah?
exactly. Like I can maybe try to do it if it works. So you can hear the snare drum now.
So he just sent that drop of water to trigger this drum.
I make it faster.
Yeah. And if you tap on the sensor.
Yeah, it also responds.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can also use it as a master clock.
Yeah.
For the modular. The thing is that the master clock is not really steady, because when the water level goes down, it starts dripping slower because of the pressure going lower. Yeah, so reconnect it back. Where did it go?
Do you think it's easy to keep track of stuff, or do you forget where things are routed?
Yeah, you definitely forget this. Especially, I have most of the cables I have here are red, which wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a really good choice. Like if you have colorful cables, it's much easier to keep the track of what's going on. But yeah, like you get used to it, and then if you don't know, you just need to look where it goes. But yeah.
And over here, is it kind of the same sequencer that's on the the wizard?
Yeah, yes, Rumburak. Yes, exactly. So that's the trigger sequencer, and basically, if I play it, it really like fires all the motors I have around. So that's all sequenced from this sequencer.
Like this flask.
Yeah. So this is a solenoid type motor. It's really just like pucking. It's very like simple, like inductor kind of thingy. But you need really special circuitry to actually make it move because it takes a lot of current.
Yeah.
Down here we have another one, which is just simply hitting a cardboard box, which in our case is something like a bass drum. And yeah, and up here we have solenoid that's actually attached to another motor, to the servo motor.
So 2 motors here.
Yes, motor on a motor. And this sort of panning of the servo that's controlled by actually an LFO I have here.
Yeah.
So, and really, yeah, that comes from here. That sort of this signal goes to the servo motor.
Yeah, yeah. It's a sort of a sine or something.
Sorry?
Is it like a sine wave or?
No, it's really, it's one of the XOR modulated kind of waveforms.
Yeah.
I just changed it to be plain triangle wave now.
Yeah.
So now it does really regular panning.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and of course I can control the speed, and I was really like excited to hear this snare drum, because like I had this idea for a while, but I just built it now on MESSE, and it's really alive. Really, like every of the drum hit like has a little different dynamics, a little different angle, and it really feels like a
The moment you hit like a real object, stuff comes to life in a very different way than if it's all digital.
Yeah, exactly. And also like with the flask, yeah, the flask is like actually moving, it's swinging, which gives a really nice swing to it. So that's literally the swing. So
you think it'll break during MESSE?
You think the glass? I hope not. It's made in Germany, so it shouldn't break. And yeah, and we have also another of those motors like on the guitar here. Yeah, and here as well there is a little motor attached on a CD-ROM drive, which I can also like control with some voltage, which also affects the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are coming from these little modules.
Yes, exactly. So all the motors we've just seen are driven from those dedicated modules. So this one is dedicated for the solenoids. It has 4 channels, so there is 4 trigger inputs and 4 outputs for the solenoids, and I have one knob here which sort of affects the output pulse width, and if I turn it a little bit down, it sort of affects the dynamics, because then the motors don't hit with their full power.
Yeah, okay. Oh,
so you can use this for controlling the dynamics as well. Another one is for the servo motors. That's sort of like these like panning motors. You literally, when communicating with those modules, you set up an angle in which they should be turned.
Yeah.
So maybe if I just plug this out, I can show you. I have an angle knob here, and with the knob I really control the angle of the motor. Yeah. And yeah. And then like there is a trigger input on this one, and if I put the trigger high, that's from the sequencer, it goes into another angle. So I have 2 angles that I set with the knobs here, and it's really easy to use it for the drumming situation, really. And the other servo motor, it has really the exact LFO, so it's using the CV input, and where the LFO is at the moment, that's the angle where the servo is at the moment. Yeah. And like the third one, it's for DC motors, and I was using it for the CD-ROM drive. That's really like the cheapest, easiest way how to get this type of vertical movement. Yeah, and it is bidirectional, so it can drive the motors in both directions.
Yeah.
And you can use control voltage to do this.
And when you're dealing with a lot of power and currents and stuff, You sealed it off, right?
Yeah, like that's very important about these motor modules, that all the circuitry that's interfacing with the modular is optically isolated from the motor driving circuitry, which first serves as a protection. So if there is anything that goes wrong with the high current circuits, it possibly cannot get back to the modular. It's optically isolated. So, and also like there is no ground connection, and it really prevents you to have any like back noise from the motors, which is actually quite often what happens if you work with motors and audio. So yeah, so that's how those are designed. Yeah.
If I were to order this, I need to specify what modules I'm interested in and to make my own kind of flavor.
Yes, exactly. It like, I mean, we don't give a automatic acoustic drum machine. Yeah? We don't really do this. We just provide the interface so you are able to do it on your own. But of course, we understand that a lot of musicians, especially, are not so familiar with different types of motors and how to like interface with them and how to choose the right motor. So we are planning to find the right suppliers for the motors and sort of make it as a sort of user-friendly product. In some time, we just need to find the right suppliers. And that's basically also for the sensors. Yeah, they're mostly like really standard sensors, but also like people like just maybe don't know like what they want to do. They see it can do cool stuff, but yeah, you sort of need also a bit of guidance to really get the results right, because you need to understand a little bit how the sensor works. Yes, that's this one is a pulse sensor. So if I place my finger on top of it, it goes into this sensor calibration module, and this LED blinking, that's my heartbeat at the moment. Yeah. So if I try to run a little bit, let's see if we can make it faster. I think it went a bit faster already.
So, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to work out, man.
Yeah. No flash, please. Yeah, the flash really affects the sensor.
Yeah, there is over here I noticed there is a micro SD card.
Yes.
And I'm sure it has something to do with sound.
Yes, absolutely. We have the micro Granny desktop granular sampler, which was like our product of the last MESSE, and it sort of became really popular. A lot of people like that it's sort of lo-fi and how it sounds and how you can really touch the sound that you have on a SD card as a WAV file.
Yeah. And
this module is sort of recreation into the modular, and it's much smaller than the original micro Granny, but it has all the sound capabilities of the micro Granny.
Yeah.
So there is like 8 different sound parameters. You can control the sample rate, distortion. There is the grain setting, so you set the grain size, and then you can move it forward or backward in the sample, which does the granular trick. But also there is CV input, which can be assigned to any of those parameters. So with the CV input, you can take any voltage and control the pitch or the distortion or whatever. So you can take the LFO from here and control whatever you want on the micro graining. But you can also set the CV input to trigger the graining. So you don't just set up a regular grain size, but you can trigger it externally. So you can do really like irregular graining, which I think is a really great feature. Yeah, and the other parameters I haven't mentioned, there is attack and release. That's a digital envelope built in, and start and end point of the sample. Basically there is 2 knobs and 1 button which flips the color. There is 4 colors, and each of them sets the other 2 parameters.
Yeah.
And there is like 2 triggers, trigger A, trigger B, to trigger 2 different samples from the SD card, and basically it's monophonic sample. They can't play at the same time, But if you just imagine you use an acoustic hi-hat like open close, that's exactly you can use it for this. Yeah.
So I see this, you know, I come from a musical background, I guess. I think in terms of music normally, but this really extends into not just music and sounds, but into, you know, installations or yeah, artwork in a bigger sense than just something that sounds. I mean, these are making sounds now, but it could be for other appliances than just things making sound. It could make visuals. Yeah, it could control anything really.
Yeah, exactly. Like I actually did those modules as part of my graduation project at the art school, and yeah, I wrote a thesis about how you can take inputs from the real world and create them into the outputs in the real world by means of patching, by reconfiguring by wires.
Patching the world.
Patching the world, exactly. And you can really create unusual situations in the real world. So the modular doesn't really have to stay in synthesizing sound, but it can really like control your environment and like change it. And by patching the cables, you can really create narratives. Like you can use the motor to do something in an aquarium and then sort of sense the fish that go in the aquarium and control like whatever else like in the ecosystem. So you can really like create yeah, functional ecosystems with it and really like narratives. That's really like fascinating for me. And finally I have those modules in my hands and I have enough of them to really create more interesting narratives.
And they follow a sort of a standard size, right? Doesn't it? Like a Eurorack standard size.
All of the modules we have, they are Eurorack compatible with the power connection, with the voltages they give. You can take it, put it into your Eurorack. You can, yeah, that's 100% compatible with Eurorack modular.
So as you probably understand, it's a modular system. And because you select what modules you want, there is no fixed price for this.
Yes, exactly. There is a price for every module, and like for each of the motor modules, it's 100 euros without tax, and also for the sensor module, it's also 100 euros without tax. Yeah.
Have you got the capacity to build these, build like a lot of these? What does it look like in your manufacturing process?
Yeah, actually we are really experimenting with the manufacturing process, and we have really sort of nice concept like how we want to do it. And at the moment it's like it's people building it at home, like students or maybe even older people who need a bit of extra money and can like do the soldering at home at the time they have. They can just spend the time like by doing something for us, and if it's good, yeah, we are happy to work with them. And
it's like a collective, in a way.
Yeah, exactly. So basically,
still collective.
Yeah, our city is sort of, we spread like into different homes where this is being built. So we don't really have a room like a factory where people are just sitting and soldering. Nothing like this. Really. Like we have like few employees that really take care of the quality check, testing, and also like for putting the enclosures. But the soldering itself, it's really done in homes. Yeah.
That's nice. How many people are you in your network? I mean,
I don't know, to be honest. Yeah, like we are now like 7 people full time, and that's excluding the people who do the soldering. And that's yeah. Actually, while talking, there is people being sort of hired for this job in Brno by our colleague who sort of coordinates all this. So yeah, I mean in the city there is a lot of students of technical fields, and they sort of we found out they really like to have a job that sort of makes sense. Like
it's really great. I mean, a lot of students, not only art students or electronic students, but a lot of students are probably very happy to have like a super cool, super nice studio to work with.
Yes, exactly. And basically you can, yeah, you know, like soldering is not really exhausting for your mind. Like you can, you know, if there is online lectures, you can watch the online lecture and solve a few modules, you know, during the lecture. That's I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm really happy about this. This is not something that I use a lot in my life, but seeing this, I feel like I totally understand it now. It has been like a little bit like a mystery to me. These like how do you get modulars to work your way? But I think you've done like such a nice job in making it accessible in a way. I think I understand this much better now than any other modular that I've seen actually. It's a very elegant presentation of something that is it's basic in a way, but it quickly gets messy because of all the cables and all the possibilities. But I think you've done a great job with the presentation here.
Well, thanks for your nice words. It's really great to hear that. And I mean, we really are interested in making beautiful musical instruments, and we really build modules that we want to have, and we are excited to do. Yeah, and that's what comes out of it. Yeah.
Cool. Good luck. Good luck with both of these. So we got. I already forgot the name. We got
Mrakodrap.
Mrakodrap.
Yeah. Rumburak.
Two amazing new products from Bastl Instruments. So thank you so much for your time. I'll be happy to meet you next year. Maybe you've got something even crazier that year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of stuff on the workbench. You should, you know, keep us in your focus.
I should come to Brno and stalk you. And
yeah, absolutely. Come, yeah. Be happy to have you.
Thank you.